All right, everyone, welcome again. Thank you guys for coming in tonight. This is our general meeting number 1 for NDHSAA, the Athletic Association. So we're going to start tonight, like we do with everything, with a prayer. So in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Father, we thank you for an opportunity to gather here. Bless each person present. We pray that this meeting is successful, productive, and blessed. Holy Spirit, guide us during our discussions. Give us wisdom concerning the issues that we face. Lord, we give you the glory for what we accomplish. In Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I'm going to pass it on to Mr. John Fierro, and he's going to go through a couple things, and then we'll give it to you guys.
Thank you so much for coming out today. This is kind of a follow-up from the first meeting we had about 3 weeks ago, where we introduced the Notre Dame High School Athletic Association. So we're kind of bringing to today our first general meeting of the Notre Dame High School Athletic Association. So just really quick, we're going to call this to order. I just want to kind of recap of what we're trying to do here. The Notre Dame High School Athletic Association is in lieu of booster clubs for each individual sport. What we're trying to do is create an association that encompasses all sports and those programs that are associated with sports, okay? So the mission is to foster an environment that helps contribute to athletic programs of Notre Dame High School and establish something permanent. The goal would be to reach out to Notre Dame alumni, Notre Dame parents, administration, providing support to NDHSAA for all sports and everything that encompasses the athletics. So that is the premise of what we're trying to do here today. We've called you all of you to come together so that we can start to form this association. We are looking to get the members that can then create the directors and the board for this group. So the members, they give legitimacy to the NDHSAA by voting on the board of directors, who in turn make major decisions about Notre Dame High School Athletic Association and appoint in officers of NDHSAA. So we're forming it all. We're looking for also to support the programs for vice presidents of the programs. The vice president of the programs would be for the sports. For example, football, we need a vice president. Volleyball, we need a vice president. Baseball, we need a vice president. Track and field, we need a vice president. So, and I think in total we have 27 to 28 sports here at Notre Dame High School. So we want to be able to represent each sport with vice presidents that would be then added to our board of directors or the board, okay? Some of the sports are not as big as others. For example, our football team is very, very big, so they may have one vice president, where the other sports that are a little bit smaller, we're looking to maybe group those and have representation for that sport, but to come and advocate for that sport, where their wish list is, equipment, tournaments, things of that nature. Coming together today, what I'd like to do is really kind of get to the whole reason for this meeting is, again, to get the members to join, okay? We need you guys to join, to get our feelers out to the community, especially the alumni that can help us build this athletic association. We've had some requests through the website can we stream this, or some people who are out of state, so that was a good sign. So it looks like it's coming together. People are starting to get interest, want to know what it's about. So we are streaming live, and I'm thankful for that, because it looks like we're getting to where we need to be as of now. We have a total of, I was told, of 67 members. So I think in 3 weeks we grew significantly. I look to grow beyond that, okay? Again, just a little rehash, the board that you see before you today is an interim board. It is for 6 months. We're trying to get this thing started. Once we get the members in that we need, in 6 months we will have a vote again, and we will have another, we'll vote for the presidents and the vice presidents and the directors. I believe we have 9 directors, correct?
9 directors.
9 directors that will encompass the entire organization. So that is the end goal. And again, when we come to that point, we'll go to vote. Should my name come up and get selected as president again, then I'll make that commitment. If it's somebody else, then that's okay. I will totally support that person and that board that's there. I will become a member regardless. I will put in my application for membership and support the program in any which way we can. So today, what we'd like to do is we'd like to talk, and I'll open it up to my colleagues behind me, is we'll open it up to fundraising ideas. Is there anything that's out there? Okay, we're looking to do what I have here. Ideas discussed. Anything that you have that you feel can be beneficial to this association, please bring it. We're open. We discussed. I know it's kind of a common one, but it's a very big fundraiser for many organizations. A golf tournament. Okay, so great idea. In addition to the golf tournament, an idea was admitted to the golf tournament that it would be that they've seen this before, where they have a ball drop with you sign up for a ball. It's like $10, $15 per ball with your name on it, and they take it over a hole in the golf course with a helicopter, and then they drop it over, say, the 9th hole, and the ball is closest to the pin. That person wins whatever fundraiser that's associated with that. So I think that's a great idea. I've done a lot of golf tournaments. I've never seen that, but I mean, to me, that's an attraction. Not only is the golf tournament an attraction, but that idea is an attraction to bring more people in. We're talking about a 5K, a Titan 5K. We can do something like that. I know we have the connections to have some of the organizations, the city facilities, to kind of maybe close some of the roads down for us so that we can do that. So that's another idea. We're looking for maybe a poker night. Maybe we can open that up. Again, those are all ideas. They're not written in stone. We are looking to split the major fundraisers for the NDHSAA into two, one in the fall and then the other in the spring. So hopefully we can bring those together. And if there's any sub fundraisers in between, then we're open. We're open to all of it. We're looking to work with all of the sports, hoping that we can support them in any way. Again, grow the association, the funding of the association, so that we can support each sport, sport-wide, season-wide, fall, winter, and spring. So I'd like to open it up to you as potential board members. Is there anything that you would like to bring as far as, is there any fundraising ideas? Is there any just ideas of how you would see this board even moving forward? Again, we're trying to mold it together, do what's best, but we definitely are not that proud. Well, we are not willing to listen to the people, because this board is made up by the people of Notre Dame High School, which is the parents, the coaches, alumni, administration. Yes, ma'am. Okay, perfect. Great idea. Okay, so that, for those of you, if you didn't hear it, the suggestion was a silent auction. Maybe we could do a silent auction. Great idea. Notre Dame's rich in athletics. There's a lot of athletes who've come out of here that have made it very well into the professional sports. So maybe we can reach out to them to see if they can donate a jersey or football or something like that. So yeah, it's a great idea. Is there anything else? Yes, ma'am.
You can also do a Super Bowl pool that's done online. That's a really short term, quick, fast. There's a lot of, outlets out there to do that for fundraising.
Well, I'm in already, so yeah, that's a great idea.
There's programs online you can sign up on, and people just log in, click their numbers, and it auto tracks it for you.
Okay.
So you just have one owner of it all,
Right.
and you can have people right across the United States.
So that's a program that we can get in, that we can utilize for that, correct? Okay, yeah.
I know we've done it for other fundraising for other schools.
Can I ask how successful you've seen that? I mean, just as a...
It's been pretty successful.
Really?
Yeah, because you're able to kind of push it out multiple times, and it just kind of spreads itself. A friend of a friend, or
And it's fun because every week, every Monday night or whatever you choose, winning game, there's a prize, so that motivates people. So you sign in for a certain amount of dollars.
Okay.
Every week there's a draw.
Sure.
So your square can win a potential score, and that's based on the grid those that play. Then you win. So that always motivates people that you're not just buying a square win for a
Right.
final game. it's the entire season right up until play.
Oh.
That's a great idea. So that would that be a subcommittee that we could create within the board to maybe run something like that?
Well,
This is Mr. J. Arnice.
just to jump in real quick, and I'm the secretary of the association, also a board member. I think John did a great job in terms of explaining the fundraising, but what we're looking at is we're going to have two major fundraisers, and that's for NDHSAA to grow the funds and to help build the program so that it will have a continuing support for all the sports. And then below that, I'm sorry, the two major fundraisers will be one in this fall and one in the spring. But below that will be the individual sport fundraisers, which can go throughout the year whenever the specific sports are in season. And those are the things that are there to benefit that specific sport. So anything that you can think of in terms of fundraising can help either in the major fundraising part or also the individual sports fundraising. And yes, we will have a subcommittee of everyone who is interested in helping with fundraising, if it's an individual sport or the major NDHSAA fundraising. I just want to say, if hopefully if you present an idea, you're going to be willing to help make that idea a reality. Because after this meeting, we're going to ask for people who want to be vice presidents, which is what we really do need, because they're going to act as a liaison between this organization and the specific sports, and then in turn, they're going to advocate for that sport's needs when we're in front of the board asking for distribution of the monies. So it's important both ways, to help support the club, or to help support the association, but in turn to support that individual sport so that they get a fair share of the monies. So yeah, so we will have a subcommittee. Please, after our meeting, come up, everybody who wants to be a vice president or wants to be on the fundraising subcommittee or wants to help in any way. We definitely would like that, and we definitely need that.
Sir, you had a question?
No, I had an example.
Suggestion?
My idea is more of merchandise, or perhaps maybe some stadium chairs with the MD logo on
Okay.
it, or even for the outdoor sports, those portable chairs that fold up
Sure.
with the MD logo, or even maybe before Christmas, maybe Christmas ornaments that have MD on it, and maybe the sport on the name on the ball, or things of that nature.
Sure.
Maybe a mug or something with MD on it.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I'm looking at.
So that's something that we could run through our, what's the word, not Under Armour, but what's the other one? Yeah, we could do that, okay. Yeah.
Well, couldn't we, in years past, Notre Dame used to have a student store.
Okay.
Where we would sell a bunch of
Things like
logos and books and sweaters and blankets with the ND logo.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be possible to kind of do again with the association? Now everything that's sort of sold through there, monies could go back to the athletic association,
Right.
being that everything is with some sort of water polo, swim, volleyball, of that logo.
Yeah, no, great idea. I mean, it's like, it takes a little bit of thought, but the idea's out there, and we can start. If we've done it in the past, there's no reason why we can't do it again, I would think, correct?
Great idea.
So we could, sure. Okay, yeah, there you go. So there's a need. Yes, sir.
Well, I think, ma'am, what you said is right on point. I think sports are important.
Sure.
Alumni association, community, students, winners, draw money. You win, people are coming to the game. A couple of years ago, you had a great basketball team for the community. So money is one of the focal points we're talking about. And I think money is achievable if the number one thing is in order. That is, what is the school culture towards sports. You really represent, respect, acknowledge, represent special athletes that go on. What does a student athlete represent to the school? That's a huge title. I've seen it in college. And I've seen it in the high school. Modern day survey is one of the schools my son was going to go to because of their sports program. Academics are important, but we're here for sports. So what is the culture? Clearly, Dr. Madam explained that representing Notre Dame merchandise, that should never gone away. I had a daughter, Angelica, who graduated from here not once that I have Notre Dame or a shirt for myself. And I looked, I didn't find it. Now I have a son who's here, who's playing, my daughter plays softball and my son playing baseball. Lost opportunity. So what is the culture of the school? How serious it starts from the athletic director to the principal to the bishop, is important. Because in Orange County, people send their kids a survey, modern day, what percentage of college starts. That's the question. Money is not the problem. The problem is how do you motivate the student, how do you motivate the parent, how do you motivate the community and the alumni, which is
Sure.
money. So this feels uncomfortable for me, but I'm happy to help out.
Sure.
This should be something. The culture of the school obviously has not been, it appears to me has not been sports because we're talking about fundraising, booster club, in little old high schools, where athleticism is important, those things are already in place, and we just come in and go in. So we're in the school been here how long?
I believe 85 years. Is that
85,
60.
67?
So the question is, where does this culture begin?
Sure.
Historically, I don't know.
Well, I can tell you, I'll have the staff answer that question for you, but I can tell you from my end of it, as far as it goes as student athlete, my son is a student first, and he's an athlete second. He's a good student, and he's a very good athlete. For me, if the culture of it is, sports is important to me too. I've been an athlete my whole life, but he has to, in my opinion, for me, he has to meet certain requirements that are in my household for him to continue in sports. If he doesn't meet those requirements, he doesn't move forward. But as far as let me finish. As far as the culture part of it, well, I have staff here that can answer that question better for me, and they will. And again, just remember, the premise of this is we are just getting started. I understand the other schools, I get it, but we're starting today. I mean, the best time to plant a tree if you didn't do it yesterday is today. And this is where we're at today. So we are moving forward. I'll let the staff answer about the culture, but if we're just given the opportunity to grow, and if we can come together and create a synergistic effect, we can also be there. Does anybody want to?
Yeah, let me start. So, sir, I've been involved with Notre Dame since I came here as a student in 1977.
Do you work as a staff person?
No, I do not work as a staff person here, but I have coached. I've had 3 stints of Notre Dame football as a coach. I've had 6 brothers and sisters that attended. 2 of my children graduated. One is currently a rising junior. I've had 3 other nieces and nephews that graduated. I'm related to other people who, in terms of brother-in-laws, about another 10 people. So I have a good idea of Notre Dame. One of the problems, and this is why we've created this association, is that Notre Dame has a great culture. But the problem is there's not a lot of institutional knowledge that continues on. And that's why we want to create this association, because this is going to last. At least that's the purpose. Long after I'm gone, long after John's gone, long after Mr. Johnson's gone, long after Mrs. Spino's gone, long after all of us are gone. We want this to last 50 years. I mean, I remember when I was here, Notre Dame was celebrating its 25th anniversary. And you know, it come from an all boys school, very tight, to becoming a co-ed school. But the problem has never been a real understanding of what Notre Dame is. Now, in terms of the culture, I can see in how it affected me in my life, how it affected my brothers and sisters, my kids. I mean, it's a great place to go to. You know, when you look at it, with all due apologies to the administration, you know, it still looks the same as it did 50 years ago. That's one of the problems. But the core of Notre Dame is not the buildings and all of that. It's the students themselves and what they've accomplished after they leave here. I mean, my friends, I always tell the story when I coached the JV team. You know, I saw some of my best friends are still the guys that I met in Hell Week. You know, being out there on that field, throwing up together. You know, there's guys who are heads of CEOs of their own corporations, CFOs of a large credit union. Another one just retired as a full Marine colonel. You know, these are guys that I know that for coming to Notre Dame, it helped them achieve what they wanted to achieve. And so we want to make sure that culture continues on and is celebrated and is strengthened by a solid infrastructure. And the idea of Notre Dame is, yes, we're here for sports, but sports goes hand in hand with academics. Because in my mind, it's always the whole person concept. Strong mind, strong body. And I think if you're here and you're just wrapped up in academics, you're missing out on something. And if you're here just wrapped up in athletics, you're missing out on something.
No, I agree with students. I understand that. Student athlete. The word student becomes first athlete. Okay, student. But the culture, what is going to be the culture from here on forward? The way I see culture is having a store where you can buy worthy items to support baseball, or football, whatever sport. I like the idea of the VP football. That's how I think of it. The culture is that the banners out there, like these banners to be that representative. This is a school. So I see the people that culture, they have all these banners, and you have photographs and photos of people like that. To me, as a parent, that's important. And as a businessman, it's also important for me to see that. And to hear your story is also important to me. But I think that there is culture, there is history, and I think he said it hasn't been shared enough. I think you're right. I think that's the number one thing. Selling me as a parent that Notre Dame is for student athletes. UCR, UCLA, they have areas just for student athletes to make sure that their students are going the right direction. So that comes first, the culture. Once you sell me the culture of the school and make me proud of being a person who never graduated from the school, a lot of people graduated from the school, now I got it. Now you motivate me, now you make me going, now I want to donate, now I want to organize, and I want to raise money. And one businessman calls another businessman, another businessman. But if I come to a friend of mine, hey, you know, the school's not really, they're not really attention to the student action, then I think you'll fall back because the culture starts with the director.
Well, and that's what we want to do here. That's what this organization is about. Great, great.
We're starting from something that you know what, we're going to move forward from here on. But I don't see the culture other than the beautiful signs and the.
Well, I think one of the things we're doing with the associations, we're going to build on that. One thing I do want to say is that when you talk about culture, this is why we've created this organization again, because we want to involve everyone. I mean, ideally, we're going to have thousands of members because we want both the parents that are current and all the alums that are floating around to be members. Exactly, Mr. Johnson.
I appreciate it. And again, guys, thank you for this. For those who may not know me or on live stream, so I'm Ryan Johnston, I'm the president of the school. And so I agree with you. And what is culture? And maybe we've lost that mark over the last couple of years, and that's what we're here to define again. And we're using athletics as one of our platforms because it's one of our biggest extracurriculars on top of what we've always been and will be as our core value of educating our sons and daughters here. And that's what the true culture is how are we educating our sons and daughters? And that's in academics, that's in athletics, that's in any extracurricular, but how are we going to mold them to become citizens, leaders of our community and take care of us as we get older? That's what our culture is. This encompasses, again, all sorts of extras on top of it, right? ASB is part of it. I know who your daughter is. She was very involved. ASB, everything else. Peer ministry is part of our culture. And we're using Notre Dame Athletic Association. We're using what we're believing in to get our sons and daughters out into the next step, right? Stemming from the counseling department, our coaches, our coaching staff, our faculty, and getting them involved in how do we become their mentors and leaders to get them into that next step. And we're here to partner with you guys to help that, right? To have that partnership, not just solely on us and not solely on you, but to create that partnership, okay? And so with this association and other parts of our Notre Dame community, that's what our goal is to create that culture, to make sure that we allow for the best time for these kids to be here and to give them every opportunity that we can, okay? And so that's with our students who are athletes to be able to work with our counselors and our coaches to get them up to the NCAA level and move on. That's for our kids who are interested in drama, who want to go do the arts and move on from there, right? Or in painting or any of those styles, textiles, anything along those lines. But we also want to make sure that we look at those who say, hey, maybe college isn't my platform, but trade school or military or something along those lines. And so how do we teach them to be team players? How do we teach them to be, leaders? How do we teach them to be a brother, a sister, something along those lines, right? And that's what our culture is. And what we're trying to do is develop that with your help, right? It's not just us up here, it's all of us together to create that culture, to create that community. Some of you I know are alumni here. You've heard from a few as well, right? And Notre Dame has always instilled something special in our kids, right? And even for us as administrators or faculty or staff, right? We are here for the love of these children to make sure that we can give them every opportunity to move on. And that's our culture. That's where we're at. That's our beliefs. That's our path. And so if it's, I don't want to, take away somebody's sport specific or anything along those lines, but if it's football or if it's baseball or it's volleyball, whatever it is, how do we not only teach them to get to the next level, but what does it mean to be part of that team? What does it mean to become a team captain? Or what does it mean to be the first one here and get water ready or ice or something along those lines? Or something that we've never had before here that we're trying to encompass in the athletic world is athletic training. How do we teach those kids who want to help, who want to take care and to med these fellow students, athletes, however we want to call it, right? And so that's our new culture. That's what we're after.
I think it's important for culture. We have to have subculture because then you get focused. ASD is one thing, it's beautiful. It was great for my daughter. Industry is one thing. But athletics, the student athlete will always have this subculture. And everything is the same. From a student manager of a team, position assistant or trainer assistant for the team, all that's important. Those things are too. But I think that once we decide and once we elect a mission statement, we have our mission statement, this is our subculture. Baseball. Me and him taught baseball. We don't talk football because that's a different thing. I was particularly I was playing golf,
right?
Which I like the DP thing, but I think we have to be very careful.
Well, that's what we're working on. That's what we have. That's why we have bylaws. That's why we, as administrators of the school, are communicating this and working with the community now, right? This association, it's together a partnership to make sure that we get our sons and daughters, and that's why it's broken down into the board of directors, the VPs, and then the members in the community as well. So we give an opportunity for everybody to have a voice and to work for that. So.
One last point I want to make is also being charity events. there are students who play outside of Notre Dame who are gifted with athleticism, and other students such as Third and Notre Dame tend to get these students who are acquainted. They tend to take up the student financial for providing scholarships and opportunities. And I just don't want to limit it to athletes, but also for student academics too. How is the school structure? Is there going to be an avenue to provide coaches the opportunity to seek out some of these kids who are low income and they need charity to come to this school, and we could provide and not only athletic opportunity, but also the academic opportunity which the school brings.
And that's exactly what we're working together with all of us to make sure that we give those opportunities to those who need to be here, who can't afford to be here. And that's exactly what we're working for, right? And that's kind of to where we're at with the VP side of things, right? And in the bylaws and everything else, we break down how the structure is. And that's what we're here to kind of just talk together as this first general meeting of what are we really trying to accomplish here, right? We have this board of directors, this is interim board of directors, but we're looking for the community to become the VP, to work with the board of directors, to work with the coaches, a part of the programs, to figure out how we can come together to fundraise or to gain financial stability for the programs, for longevity, not for, well, my son or daughter is here for the 1 or 2 years or the 4 years or so on and so forth, right? So the opportunity, the culture is there in the long term. Okay, and that's why we have these bylaws, so that way it's not just governed by the people you see here, or governed by you. It's together as all of us, and that's what we're really working to accomplish, right? We're here to say, hey, look, we know we need to do this. We have to make our kids successful. Athletics is a giant part of their life. It teaches them life lessons, right? We have wonderful coaches spread throughout these bleachers right now who work day in and day out to give them the opportunity that maybe the Servites and everything have plenty of resources to do, but we get it from the coaches hand on. That's the Notre Dame culture. That's been the Notre Dame difference, right? We are that different. We're that hands-on. We're part of it. We're invested in it. It's not just from a financial, but we also live in reality where we have to keep the lights on. We have to have some funding in order to make sure that that happens, and to give the resources back to the programs in order to keep things moving forward. So that's what we're after with tonight. You know, this is great conversation, and thank you for that. And guys, you know, please feel free to come in. But, you know, we've just had, with just starting this and some of the momentum of bringing back people that have not wanted to chat with Notre Dame for a while. They're starting to come back and say, hey, look, I understand things are changing and moving to a better direction. So we're excited for that. We're excited to partner with you guys. We're excited to work with these athletes, and this is the start of it, to move it through campus-wide. And maybe one day, you know, who knows? Maybe we won't be here anymore. We'll be at a location where we'll have pools and courts and fields and everything else that we're capable of being on campus and being Notre Dame, right? And that might, like Mr. Firo said, that might start today. We don't know, but if we don't try, we'll never know either. And that's what we are trying to teach our kids, is get out there. It's all about just getting out there, get started, right? Go get dirty, go get messy. Life's messy, but we've got to be a part of it, and we got to do it. And so that's what we're after today. So I think one thing that we could maybe cover on a little bit more is the VP structure of things. And I'll kind of turn that back over to you guys, and just kind of understand what it is to be a VP, a part of the association.
Yeah. Marty, go ahead.
John, if you don't mind, I'd just like to go back to kind of your idea of having two major events.
Sure.
I think, I'm just taking this all in, I think a strategy for the two events would be, one, the event raises money. Like, we have to be in the mindset, this is a fundraiser. Two, it's got to be fun for the current community. And then three, we have to provide a connection to alumni, because we've got 60 years of history and storytelling that we're missing out on. So like hearing what you you've said and other people have said, your golf event, just blow it up, make it bigger. That can be the fun part. An auction, silent and live, can be the fundraising part. And I don't know if Notre Dame has ever done this before, but what about starting a Notre Dame Hall of Fame? And where you nominate alums, and then you recognize 3 to 5 alums every year, and then you get the alums to come back with their families. I mean, that's the type of stuff that you just got to bring it all together. So, I mean, that's my advice.
Marty, that's actually a great idea, because you're right. If I bring one alumni, then we bring 3, and then we bring 3, we bring 6. So
snowballs, and then
yeah.
it's annual. And then, you know, then we're talking sports today, but, you know, if you want to do something at a different event for the school, you could have a distinguished alumni for somebody who's been successful in a different field. But,
and sir, to your point, I totally get what you're saying, and I'm on board. I mean, those are all great ideas, and you're right. We have a fundraiser. It's good to have that major fundraiser, but what's the direction that fundraiser is going to be building on? We got to reach out beyond the golf tournament. But you know, and I said it the last time. My son's a junior here, but if he graduates on, God willing, he's going to do great. But in 15 years from now, if he can give back to Notre Dame High School, then mission accomplished. Because that's exactly what we're trying to do. Because that's what the bigger schools do. They have those resources where they're so deep that it comes back, and that is the goal. I mean, if we can just plant the tree today, you know, your daughter will get back to the softball program. So, but that's kind of the mindset. That's what we're looking to do. Yes, sir. Are you fourth degree? Are you fourth degree? Okay. But go ahead.
My kids graduated from year 13, 14. Years they were here, we had pancake breakfast almost every month.
Okay.
For the teams. We raised generally close to 1,000, anywhere from 600 to 1,000 football teams and stuff.
Okay.
We want to start that back up this year. We coordinate.
Hey Mike, how you doing?
And sorry, this is so you're saying through the Knights of Columbus to come back and do the pancake?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Good.
Kids work, kids sell tickets, kids help cook, kids clean. You know, we got some nights so we'll have a bunch of parents occasionally come in. But it's a good experience. And like I said, we were raising probably usually $10,000 to $15,000 a year for the teams in the ring. And we want to get that back going again. They have to change the record. Throw that out there. And let me know you guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
My kids were captains.
Sure. Well, Mike, we welcome it, and we can certainly talk afterwards. So yeah, I think it's a great idea, and we appreciate the help.
And thinking community was sure right, it doesn't really work with incentives. My son was a starting quarterback on the sure right coaching team. The Saturday started sitting on the baseball team. I got over the World Series with freshman team out, and said that's one year. He said it sucks. I got out to one quarter. He said the water polo team was only in like 2 months, which I did. But then driving is Riverside.
And I think that's kind of the whole thing too. Once you have an idea and a vision, and you're driven, I don't want to say motivated because we can lose motivation too, but once you're driven to accomplish that goal, you can accomplish that goal. So what we like to do is definitely have you guys come and talk about becoming vice presidents. How is that going to look? What you would do? Becoming members, so that we can have voting rights, correct? But so that we just like to try to get that moving. And that's kind of one of the reasons for this meeting, so that we can start growing the official membership. Yes, ma'am.
I have more of a logistical
Sure.
question.
Sure.
So let's say I say yes, I want to help. I want to do a fundraiser for volleyball.
Okay.
Run the fundraiser. Now the next step is how do I get those funds to volleyball? You all are going to vote on it. Is it a percentage? I'm a very practical person, so I'm like, tell me how is this going to?
You want to take that, Jason? With the
Yeah,
1,000?
Actually, let me just give a little background. So the board has had a lot of discussions about how money is going to be divided up, how we deal with fundraisers, either the large fundraisers or small fundraisers. I shouldn't say small; they're all large and important. So basically, in terms of the association, every fundraiser Notre Dame engages in, whether it's the big alumni fall and spring one or the smaller sport ones, all those monies have to be deposited into Notre Dame's account. And then depending on the size of the fundraiser, if it's under 1,000, then the board, the officers of the association will vote upon it, how that money will be distributed. If it's over 1,000, then the board members will vote upon that and make that decision. However, what we discuss as board members is that obviously there are situations where, like you said, it's a volleyball fundraiser. If it's a volleyball fundraiser clearly meant for volleyball, that money will go into the Notre Dame account and it will go back out to volleyball. And that's why those are the sports-specific fundraisers we're looking at. What we're looking at in terms of the association itself, where hopefully we're going to involve all the alums or more alums, more outside community members, are the big ones, the spring and fall fundraisers. So yes, if you raise specific funds for a specific sport, that money will go back to that specific sport. Maybe, depending on, there may be some small amount taken out, but most of it will go to the sport itself.
So now going back to the big one. So we do this huge one. I help out. Let's say I'm a vice president. I put in a ton of hours. My kid swims. My kid does volleyball. Is there like a set percentage that we're saying is going to the sports, or is it just the general fund that basically the sport with the biggest need or the biggest perceived need will draw from? Because if I can speak for other parents, the concern that I've heard is that it's all going to go to football. And I mean, I'm just putting that out there because I know I'm not the only one that thinks that, because it's the biggest sport. So it's the one that kind of draws, it's the name that people hear.
Well, it's not all going to football, and for the large fundraisers, it's going to be divided up equitably. You know, the idea is every sport has certain needs, and that's why it's also important for the vice presidents to be involved, because they're the ones who are going to tell the board what is that sport's needs. And so, you know, the thing about, can I talk about the lights?
Sure.
So, for instance, there's one of the major projects Notre Dame wants to engage in is putting lights out on the field. You know, that's the kind of money, that's the kind of project that the big fundraisers will go to. And that's not, obviously football will benefit from it, but also baseball and softball and soccer. So a lot of other sports. So that's the idea, that the big ones aren't to be specifically about any one sport. It's about all the sport programs, and ideally you're supporting everything in terms of sports. And we're also including the athletic trainers, because they play a big role in every sport. They have to be there, and there's a lot of demand on them.
No,
So
I just think it's important to clarify how equitable. The bottom line is that, you know, everybody wants to advocate for their sport, but at the same time, it is about the big picture, because we all do benefit from lights being on the court. That's all.
yeah, no, and we want to make sure it's clear to everyone what's being done. That's why these meetings are very important, and we want everyone to be involved. And if you have a question, ask it so we can make sure that it's the air is clear and everyone understands how money will be distributed. And one of the things that I really want to emphasize, and this is really towards more alums than current parents, but you know, we've done things like Marty. We've started a Hall of Fame, and it got sidetracked.
Okay.
And a lot of the issues with the alums is that who controls the money. And this organization is, I've mentioned repeatedly, and I do have to thank Mr. Johnston, it's a partnership. The administration does not control how the money is going to be distributed. The administration plays a role and has a say, but it really is the members, and the members are made up of the administration, the parents, and the alums. So it's all of us making decisions how this money will be distributed. And that's I think, a key point, and that's something where it separates us from what's happened in the past. No, we are part of Notre Dame, but we have, and that, when we, before the end of the meeting, I do have the bylaws. I hope everyone's had a chance to look at it, because you're going to vote to ratify the bylaws when we're done with this meeting. All the members. They are on the website. I only have I can read it to you. Yes, yes. And if there's any questions regarding the bylaws, I will be glad to answer them. I drafted the bylaws, so. In terms of, well, once we break, and I don't want to steal John's. I don't want to steal John's.
We're sure.
Thank you.
Who did graduate from the school. I like that energy. I love that energy she brings across. But it has to come from the director to us. I feel it. I feel her energy. And I hope we feel her energy. I hope you're feeling what I'm feeling, which is I want to see the school. I want to see the program.
Yeah, on that, like, culture is huge, and this is something that Dr. White and I have been I'm not saying changing, but I've been a coach here. I've been coaching here for 10 years, but the relationships that we have right now with our coaches is amazing. Like, I love coming to their practices. Our football coaches, oh my gosh, they respect me, I respect them. My volleyball coaches, I can come in here, we can actually, like, I'm not saying we practice with them, but we hang out with them, we watch their practices. Like, that's the culture that I like, that Dr. White and we are trying to get more involved with these coaches, the sports. I think it's huge. And like she said, the history's here, that's why you're coming. The coaches, I'm telling you, I just can't say enough good things about our coaches right now. So it's like, if they will stay with us, I pray that you guys will stay with us, because you guys are doing all great things. Again, I have quite a few here, and I would love for you guys to meet them. One of the things I asked them to do was to create like a wish list, something that we can present to the members. What do you guys need? And of course, baseball hasn't sent me this long old wish list, but but again, these coaches, I'm here for them. I'm here for those student athletes. I'm here for these coaches, and we're going to do anything we can to, again, because you said, like, we have this culture. You're here for a reason, and we want you to stay here and be here for these coaches and the athletes and for us. So with that, go back to...
Yeah. So thank you for the energy. Thank you for your comments. Yes. So if anybody's interested in signing up as a vice president or a member, please stay after we're done here. We're getting ready to finish, and let's get you signed up, because we definitely need the participation. Yes, sir.
The online sign up, is that something different than this, or is this the same sign up?
Yeah, so to be a vice president is going to be totally different. Okay. If you're the online sign up is just to be a member.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah, so if you want to be a vice president, please stay back. Let's take some names down. And anybody who wants to be part of the fundraising committee, please stay back, so we can, again, we can communicate and get things in motion. But that's about it. I appreciate everybody's interest. We're pretty excited. We want to really get things moving forward, and I think we're off to a good start. I think, again, total, we have about 68 members total as of now. So we're just looking at everybody get signed up, and so we're just going to go and terminate, but we're going to ratify the bylaws before we break. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Oh, really quick, for those that are online, you can go to the Notre Dame Athletic or Notre Dame High School website and
Under the athletics.
under the athletic banner, and you can send any comments to us. You can sign up for this. But if you have any comments, please use the email there and send it to us, and we'll be reading it. Thank you.
So just to emphasize a couple of points, anyone that is interested in being a vice president or involved with fundraising, please stay after so we can talk about it and get down your contact information. That group will be meeting again hopefully in the next couple of weeks. In terms of the general membership itself, we probably won't have another general membership meeting until December or January unless something else comes up. There's only, per the bylaws, there's only one general membership meeting per year, unless it's specially called by a officer or board member or actually even a member themselves. So please, if you're interested to be a vice president or a fundraising committee member, please stay here. Also, in terms of membership, we want as many people here as possible. So I know Notre Dame just posted on their Facebook page a sign-up link. So if you receive that, please share it with anyone that you think would be interested. I just saw it today, so I'm going to share it, and I know I have about 70 or 80 people that are in some way involved with Notre Dame, and I expect most of them to sign up. So please, we want as many people as possible. Last thing is the bylaws themselves. Has everyone had a chance to look at the bylaws? We don't have copies, but they are on the website. The bylaws are pretty much how this organization is going to run. We're not a separate 501c3. We are part of Notre Dame, but the bylaws is a contract essentially between us, the members of the association, and Notre Dame. How we're going to operate, how they're going to treat us, and what's going to happen when we raise funds, what's going to happen to those funds, and how are they going to be distributed. So with that, I would simply ask for a show of hands, who agrees to ratify the bylaws? Please, Rich, raise your hands. Okay, for the ones who did not raise their hands, is there a reason you don't want to ratify the bylaws? You haven't seen the bylaws yet? Okay, well, we can put that off until the next, because we need a little bit more. Please, between now, we may call another general meeting then so we can ratify the bylaws. Please look at the bylaws. Pardon?
I don't want to hold you up either.
They are online.
Oh, a vote online?
We can do that. We can do that also. But we do need to have the bylaws, just as I mean, obviously we're all agreeing to this as being part of it, but just as long as we have our documentation in order. Okay? All right, thank you.
No, that's it. Good.
Okay, so, you want to say
No.
Oh, so I guess I'm going to say thank you very much, everybody. I appreciate everyone coming out. Again, if you're interested in being a vice president or a fundraising committee member, please come and speak with us. It's very, very important. Everyone else, please reach out to whoever you think may be interested in becoming a member. Get them in here. It doesn't cost anything. And we're going to keep, what we ideally want to do is to provide information to all the members on a monthly basis about what's going on at Notre Dame, what they can do to help if they want to help, just keeping them abreast of Notre Dame, like all the cool monitors that are now up. So things like that. We don't have a next meeting date for the general membership, and then for the fundraisers and the vice presidents, we will set that once we get everyone together. Okay? Thank you.
I just wanted to say real quick, thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you for the board and all their work that we've been putting in for this to start this association. We have a few coaches here. If you guys wouldn't mind hanging around for just a few minutes, maybe kind of right over there, just so, if some parents want to come by, say hello real quick, I would really, really appreciate that. For those who are ready to join and everything else, we'll kind of be around here too. And again, thank you, and look forward to making this something we can't even imagine, but I know we'll do great things.